years ago. When did it happen, in your opinion?
As far as talk about the Missoula Flood, I think after the flood was over, the Bible says in Psalm 104, the mountains lifted up, the mountains arose and the valleys sank down. If you covered the earth in water, and then you had a chunk, the earth was all busted up like an eggshell. It still is today, busted up. We have fault lines everywhere, the San Andreas fault, the Hayward fault. None of them are my fault, but okay, we've got lots of faults. Some of them are still moving, and we have earthquakes and volcanoes along the fault lines. Well, if you had a chunk of earth the size of Texas, let's say, it's covered in water, all of a sudden one side sinks down, one side lifts up. The water's going to rush off. How fast it tilts is going to determine how fast the water rushes off. And pockets of water are going to be trapped all over the place. Natural depressions, be a natural lake. And some of them are still here. Some of them got too full, went over the top at the lowest place and carved a valley. And now the lake's gone because you have a way for the water to get out. This all would have happened in the first few hundred years after the flood. It's interesting to look at the globe and see nearly all the mountain ranges in the world follow the coastline. The Rocky Mountains follow the North Pacific. I wonder why. The Appalachian Mountains follow the North Atlantic. The Andes Mountains in South America follow the South Pacific. Even the Alps in Europe, they follow the Mediterranean generally. I think that was a small area that caved in, water rushed in, filled in the Mediterranean, and left the Alps behind sticking up. So I think all this would have happened during the flood and several hundred years after that. We still have lakes that are getting too full and overflowing. I'd like to see, Joseph, can you find the documentation? Somebody told me the Spanish sailed down the California coast in the 1700s and could not find an opening to get in. It was rugged mountains all the way down. Now we have the San Francisco Bay. If you closed up where San Francisco Bay is, that might be a good idea for several reasons. But there's a mountain range in Northern California and a mountain range in Southern California. I lived in Fairfield for 3 years. If you closed up the gap between them, a huge lake would fill up in Central California, giant lake. That lake got too full at some point. I've been saying in my tour, and I've been saying maybe 100 years after the flood, it might have been as recently as 300 years ago. But anyway, the lake got too full, went over the top. Once the erosion starts, get out of the way. So the Missoula flood is probably from a giant lake left over from Noah's flood that washed. Could have happened 100 years after the flood or 500 years after the flood. If they're telling you this lake drained 8,000 years ago or something, how on earth can you possibly know that? How could you possibly know such a thing? Well, we date the layer. No, that goes back to the carbon dating and the stupid geologic column.
I was going to say, and then we go back to all the